One of the best ways to improve your critical thinking skills is to understand how your brain does stuff. If you understand how your brain makes decisions, it's much easier to spot where you might be going wrong, and so you can then fix it. If you pick up the average critical thinking textbook, it will teach you how to make logical decisions. But the trouble is, there's 40 years of psychology research that suggests that in a lot of cases, your brain might actually deceive you when you're making decisions, and you might not be hugely logical. But if you can start to understand some of that research, it will really help develop your critical thinking skills. In these videos, we're going to try to give you some real-world examples of where your brain might be deceiving you, and hopefully by understanding those, it will really push on the development of your skills. In this video, we'll look at examples when your eyes might be deceiving you. When you hear people say, "I saw it with my own eyes," what they usually mean is, it's true, but hopefully you'll see that that isn't always the case. Here's a very simple example. Take a look at the two green lines. You should see that the bottom one looks a lot shorter than the top one. If we had a couple of horizontal lines, you can see that the two green lines are actually exactly the same length. So originally your eyes were deceiving you. Here's a similar example. Again, look at the two green lines. You'll see that the bottom line looks a lot shorter than the top one. Again, if we add a couple of red lines to this image, you can see that the two green lines are actually exactly the same length. Both of these illusions take advantage of your eyes being designed to deal with three-dimensional images. But the important thing for you to take away is that what's going on here is entirely unconscious. So, even now you know that those two lines are exactly the same length, if you look at either of those two illusions, your eyes will still tell you that the bottom line is shorter than the top one. Let's have a look at a slightly more complex example. Take a look at these two tables. The one on the right hand side of the screen looks shorter and fatter, and the one on the left looks thinner and longer. So let's have a look at that table illusion picture again. So here's a paper copy of it, and as you can see, one of the tables looks long and thin, this one, and one of them, the one on this side, looks short and fat. So let's have a look and see if they're actually the same size. And with my high-tech piece of coloured in plastic, if I line those two things up, you can see that on that side the coloured in section matches up with that table. And now if I just slide it over to this side and line it all up, you can see it matches there. And if we move it back again, you can see they're definitely the same size. But strangely enough, if I take that away and showed you the picture and you look at them now, they still look like they're two different sizes. So again, it seems like your eyes are deceiving you, even when you know that they're both the same size. Here's another image that's slightly more complex again, and you'll see that square A and square B look like they're completely different colours. So here's that checkerboard design again, and if you have a look at this one, you can see that square A and square B look two completely different colours. But if I just mask out the rest of the picture with my piece of plastic here, suddenly A and B look the same colour. And if we take it away, back to different colours. And if I put it in again, the same colour. So again, like that original example, your brain is unconsciously processing this image for you. And even though when I do that, you can see that they're the same colour, the minute I take it away, your brain is still telling you they're different colours and still deceiving you. In all the examples we've seen so far, your brain seems to be deceiving you. But in the next example, you'll find your brain actually starts to make something up that isn't there at all. You can see here we've got two pictures side by side of Daniel Craig emerging from the sea in his swimming trunks. And on the right hand side, some of the picture has been obscured by the blue mask. But a strange thing's going on. I think you'll find that on the right hand side of the screen, it almost looks like he's not wearing any swimming trunks. So actually your brain appears to be filling in a gap on the right hand side of the screen, even though you know what's actually there. If you think back over all those examples, you can see that your eyes quite often deceive you. And in the case of that very last example, your brain actually starts to make up stuff that was never there to start with. Now, that might seem like a trivial example, but imagine for a moment you were a jury in a court case and you had an eyewitness. Now, you've got an example there of where your brain has made up some information that actually was never there. So suddenly, eyewitness testimony doesn't look as reliable as it might be. Next time round, we'll have a look at other ways in which your brain might deceive you.